Let me ask y'all a question. If your mother is interfering in your relationship, right, and it's to the negative detriment of the relationship, would you tell your boyfriend or your husband, hey, your mama got need to stay out of our relationship? I don't care if you talk to her, but don't talk to her about our relationship. So y'all fine with that, right? Okay, let me ask the man a question. If your girlfriend got a gay best friend and he never liked you. He never liked you. And he always like in her ear telling her things that's detrimental to the relationship. Would you tell her not to talk to him? I'm gonna assume that's yes, right? Or about to.
Yeah, well, yeah, and I'm gonna say yeah. Anybody who's an obvious detriment, that's they got to be out. Like, you can't have outside interference, right? But I think more importantly, you have to vet in your relationship and make sure you're not with the person who's easily influenced by outsiders.
I 100% agree. It sounded to me like he's failed that step. And step two was something was going on via the social media that was influencing her in what he perceived to be negative. I don't know exactly what was said or what he had an issue with. Maybe he was sugarcoating it. Maybe she was saying something like I think he said something about sex or something, or they need to break up in their relationship. The person from the outside might have influenced her to be like, well, if we're not married, I'm breaking up with you this week. And they fighting about that all week. And they might have been together for 2, 3 months. But because they said you either married or you single, and he heard them say that, now he got a whole fight in his house. And at the end of that fight, he like, where did you get this from? And she like, well, online, he said, he like, oh, really? Man, stop following him. I could easily see that conversation going that way. Like really, really easily see that conversation going that way. Now,
Now, Marcus, real quick, would you believe or would you buy into if that's happening? Would you not say that this person's probably a bad leader? They have poor leadership qualities. If outside influences to be able to just jump in and derail your relationship.
100%. But he already failed in the selection vetting process. So it's stand the reason that he gonna fail in a whole lot of other categories because he overlooking the like you said, why would you date somebody that's that easily controlled by outside influences? That had nothing to do, you know what I'm saying? It sounded like he in that situation. So
I
yeah,
got a question.
I agree with you on that, Trev. What I was who said they had a question?
That was me.
All right, what's the question?
How can you judge her off one clip and say, well, she's not a good person for him because she's easily influenced? We could say the same about black men and rap music. If he have his favorite rapper that he listened to, oh, he's easily influenced, dump him.
If
You didn't vet him
I would
right.
agree with that.
if
I
I'm
he
would
just
agree with
saying,
that,
so you
Ali.
gotta give
listen, if
people
he a
I would
young
agree
grace.
with
boy,
that.
Hold
Hold
up.
on, make sure we
Yeah,
talk one at a
I'm
time
just
so the audience can hear us.
Light on young boy.
I'm just say so give people grace. Like it's only one clip. I think that he needs to and he needed to answer the questions as to why he wanted her to unfollow. That's why they put him um like they put him on a spot because they wanted to, like, no, why are you doing this? It's stupid. And he like,
Ali, I
oh.
thought you was asking a question. I was in the middle of talking. You said I got a question.
So the question is, so if we judge her off one clip, can we also judge everything else off of what you do? You're easily influenced because you listen to Future or Drake every time he drop a new album, you download it. Can we judge you and say, well, you can't be dateable because you
Well,
easily are influenced?
so to answer your question, if as a grown man you listen to a Drake album and it caused relationship issues, that's a problem. You should if Drake drop a new album and your man break up with you because or you start fighting with your man because Drake dropped a new album, I would say that I got a lot of
But
judgment.
the question, not to cut you off, the question was, it the, what's the problem? What's the relationship problem? They were asking him, so what's the problem? And he couldn't address what's the problem. So why is she now being penalized because he can't even identify the problem because she just getting this knowledge? And they said it was good knowledge. They
Okay.
admitted like it's some good
Yeah,
information, right?
Okay.
I'm
I'm not
trying to
sure
figure
nobody
it
was
out.
penalizing. Did anybody penalize her?
That's what I was going to address. I never penalized her. I was speaking. Actually, it wasn't even really about her. It was in regards to if this is the case based off of this. She probably a wonderful young lady. Shout out to her. I ain't got nothing negative to say about her. What I'm saying is, if you're in a relationship and outside influences take a spin in a relationship, because it wasn't that it made her a better girlfriend, because I doubt that if somebody is influencing you to be better, you would probably encourage that. So if he had an issue with that, maybe he just didn't want to tell him that. Maybe he didn't have the gumption to be like, bruh, you be saying XYZ and this is a problem for me. I don't know. He was on his podcast. Maybe he felt like he was being manipulated to answer that in a certain way so he can continue to come on there. I don't know. I'm just speaking specifically to somebody coming in and having influence on a relationship in a way that causes harm to the relationship. But let me answer the question, right? Nobody deserves to live under the control of another human being. And that control is coming from a place of self-motivation. I agree. And manipulation. I agree. I think when I be talking about manipulation, I'm speaking of like I speak about positive manipulation and skillfully navigating the world or skillfully navigating to desired outcomes. Now, none of that intersects in my mind with when people use manipulation to do negative things or things that's harmful to the person. If you're manipulating something and it results in you winning and the other person losing, that would be from a place of self-motivation, and it's probably going to be negative for the other person. And in that case, I would agree. I don't think anybody deserves to just get manipulated to the point that it's to their detriment at the expense of your win. So I would agree under that, because a husband or the man in your life is supposed to navigate the world, manipulate reality in order for the benefit of the family. Supposed to be in a position where he sees everything from where the family needs to go. He tries to get them there. If he's separating himself and saying, hey, this is for me and everybody else is going to lose, I would say that's a bad leader and nobody deserves to be underneath that. So I would agree.
Okay. All right. Let me go ahead and let me get to Ruth.
Yes. So we were talking about manipulation. It depends on the scenario. Women are men can be manipulated as well. So let's say a younger girl with an older guy, she can be easily manipulated. I know I was when I was younger. Um, Depending on like if you were like so in love with the person and you just don't have a lot of experience. So I don't think it's not something that I'm taking lightly when I answer this question. So I know it's like for somebody to like say things to you and you believe them, and it's to your detriment and it makes you feel low about yourself. And it's more prevalent than the men think. I mean, you guys there, if you are a woman and you see how many times the woman says that, you'd be surprised how many men do manipulate. Not all men do, but it's a good little section that like to do that, because we're taught like get a man that's overly masculine. But then when you grow up, you realize like, hey, this guy's actually really emotional. He's not really like this demonstrating that real masculinity, because when behind closed doors, he's not strong, but he's trying to put a strong front on. So I know it's like to be in that scenario. But with this, I was just getting upset because just like we're giving her grace, let's give this guy grace too. Because just because you're on social media influencing everybody does not give you a right to be in everybody relationship. You can't say he's controlling and that's all you have. That snippet there. You don't know if he's uplifting her in private. He does not have to disclose the details of his relationship to you. So you take one little thing and you say, go free yourself. Blink twice if he's controlling you and all this other stuff. And I'm just like, you're just jumping down his throat. You could tell that they have biases in their mind, that they're just trying to make him a bad guy automatically. And look how they were attacking her. Like, you don't need to be there. You don't need to this. It's like you were triggered. So I think that we should have more of a conversation with this guy. I don't know if he was an employee, if he worked with them, or if they had influence over him because they how somebody do you a favor, like y'all you got us together, and out of respect, I don't want to say too much. It's just like a power dynamic that was off, and they were taking advantage of the power dynamic, and that's why he didn't want to say too much about it. He don't want to hurt their feelings, but it's his relationship. And I agree with Trev. Like, people don't have to follow you on social media. It's not personal. I remember one time I had to unfollow all the realtors on my thing, and everybody in real life was like, "What did I do to you?" Right? It wasn't that deep. But if I'm going here for business and I got a bunch of realtors on my page, y'all taking up my Facebook friends. So I just don't follow all of them. They was copying anyway. So everybody had their reasons. They don't have to. You have my phone number, and it was people that was not speaking to me in real life. So stop with this whole you unfollowed me, that I hate you thing. It's not real. Like, if somebody really supports you and really love you and care about you, it don't matter if they follow you or unfollow you. Some people are manipulative and like, oh, I'll show her, I'll unfollow her. Like, you just one follower. Like, calm down. But that's how I feel about it. I don't think people should manipulate women. It's a very sensitive topic. People, a man might not hit you, but he might say a lot of stuff to break you down, and it's very sensitive topic for me. I'm glad I'm over that part of my life, and I have real relationships now, not a one-sided one.
I just want to add one more thing to that, because Ruth, I think you spot on. Women, like, especially in this day and age, men and women do this, where you look at social media for a comparative analysis of your life, and you will judge based off of the things you see in other people do. If you following travel influencers and you're not traveling and you want to be traveling, that could lead to depression. So that doesn't necessarily mean that the good travel people are putting bad images in your mind. They're filling you with self-doubt and negative self-images. And if that's my woman following that, wants to do that, and we're not traveling, I would tell her, you gotta stop following that stuff. It's negatively affecting you from day to day. Even though what they're doing isn't negative, the way it's affecting you is.
Can I give you an example? A couple shows ago, I said no female friends. Like, if I have a right to say it back to you, like I'm making my rules too, then it's fine. It's even. But if that person's the only one making the rules, then you can say all that. But stop assuming that women are always getting beat up and mistreated in a situation. Like, listen to it more so before you judge.